Hi, everyone. This is Amanda Wiss, and you're listening to Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Enjoy.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgooutthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgooutthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We are continuing with Dexter Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6. 2 more good episodes. I'm doing the scene by scene tonight. I'll be quick. Losing my voice already. I had fun with it. I'm excited that we've knocked out the first half, and I'm excited to finish the second half of this season. I'm enjoying it so far. Brian, you want to go next?
Yeah, I think that this was a great episode and then a pretty good episode. Episode 5 with the whole immigrant subplot, that is actually so far my favorite episode of the entire season. I'll go ahead and say that too, and I do later on too, but I kind of feel like we have a lot going on in episode 6, a lot, like almost too much, but we'll get into that.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I think that this is a really good episode followed by a phenomenal episode. Like episode 6 to me is my favorite of the season so far. And when you talk about having so much going on, I mean, I think that's pretty realistic for the cops in Miami. Like there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of shit constantly happening. But I think the episode 5 finishes strong, but I think the first part of the episode is kind of slower build. So yeah, but I enjoyed them both. I think this season is getting better and better with each episode.
No doubt.
All right, let's get started. Love American Style, Episode 5. The episode starts with Dexter giving voiceover saying he likes to pretend he's alone, like in a post-apocalyptic situation. Dokes tells him to stop smiling and get back to work. Forensics are on the Tucci crime scene investigating, trying to find the perpetrator's blood anywhere. Masuka is just like me and scared of rats. Deb takes it personal when Dexter says to take a break from work and stop avoiding a personal life. Rita checks on a crying Yelena, asking if Ernesto has arrived. She fears he's been sent back to Cuba. Rita tells her Dexter can help and he will know what to do. The two are having a nice meal and she tells him about the situation. He says he knows someone in immigration and she asks if he longs for a deeper relationship. Dexter brings up an Atari, knowing small talk won't cut it anymore, seeing the disappointment on Rita's face. Shonda asks Deb to talk to her landlord and kick his ass. Doak scolds Deb in front of everyone for leaving a cigarette butt on the crime scene and orders her to sit with Tucci until he awakes. Dexter's talking to a cop about immigration, and the cop breaks the bad news there's not much he can do. Dexter visits Jorge Castillo at a junkyard. He thinks this is a good place for human trafficking. Dexter is caught but plays it off needing a headlight for a specific car. Jorge tells him of a couple dealers he works with. Jorge tells him he doesn't speak Spanish. He's American, just like you. Deb is at the hospital with Tucci and tells the nurse she'll wait on him to awake. She calls out his name, then says she's going to find this cocksucker, exiting the room. All right, Brian, opening set of scenes, what'd you think?
I say it every week and I'll say it again. Dokes is the fucking worst. Literally all he does is be a dick in this entire set of scenes. It's like they can't even find anything for him to even act normal doing. Quit acting like a fucking psycho. Masuka, what'd I tell you about the rats? No. Anyway, on another note, I know it doesn't last very long, but I liked seeing Rita at work at the hotel and kind of being, in a roundabout way, bringing Dexter into the other side of this plot, this story. And I thought that was good writing. I was kind of tired of seeing her just be the single mom, housewife at home. Between the dog thing last episode and now this, you can definitely tell they're still following the book in the sense that everybody besides Dokes has something to really do. Very good writing there, I thought. Also, shout out to Julie Benz for actually eating food in her outside lunch with Dexter. That bothers me. And I don't know if that's directing choice or what, but speaking of that, Rob Lieberman, who jumped in the series in episode 4 back to direct this one, director of D3, The Mighty Ducks. He did Fire in the Sky too, but come on. Quack, 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 quack. Great start. Like I said in the open, I really like this episode a lot. The whole immigration subplot and the subsequent twist. Really like how this plays out.
I have a legit question, not even trying to be funny. Nico, have you seen the Mighty Ducks movies, all 3 of them?
No, not all 3 of them.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen the first one, probably.
The funny thing about the first movie, my old boss and I used to talk about this a lot. Like, the first movie is a rated PG Disney movie, right? Think about this. Why did Gordon Bombay start coaching the Mighty Ducks? He was court-ordered because he got a fucking DUI. Like, what kind of shit is that to put in a kid's movie? But anyway. Yep. I like Dexter's introspective intro being broken up by Dokes being a dickhead again. That was funny. Dexter saying a blowy is his highest level is funny. Like, I feel you. There's no higher level above that. But I do like the added storyline and depth to Rita's life. Glad to see Dokes being an asshole to Deb. He had kind of been on her side and relatively nice to her before that. It's good to know that he's just a prick to everyone. It's fun seeing Dexter interact with Castillo. He's surprisingly good at getting into character and seeming legitimate. Like, he just seemed like a normal, dim-witted guy that bumbling around. I really like that. It's an okay open. It's not my favorite, but the story's progressing and evolving, so I like it.
Yeah.
Yelena is crying on the beach, and Rita sits beside her. Dexter sneaks back into Jorge's junkyard, saying the American dream of traveling with Rita and the kids is his nightmare. He finds a room he thinks where Castillo locks them up, but he's not killing them here. So where are they? Back on the beach, a young lady screams, finding a floating body that could match the maid's fiancé's description. Batista tells Dexter he has to join him for drinks tonight to celebrate his pay bump. Dexter, Rita, and Yelena are at the morgue to check out the corpse, and Yelena breaks down in tears seeing him. Rita holds her and comforts her. Flashback to Dexter cutting grass, and Mindy asks if he's going to the spring formal, but he completely shuts her down unknowingly. He tells his dad he doesn't care about girls. He just likes being alone. Harry tells him he needs to act normal to appear normal. Tucci is getting fitted for a prosthetic leg and tells Dokes and Deb he didn't see much. Deb opens a milk for him, and Dokes asks about his appearance. Tucci doesn't know much and didn't hear much. Deb says they could blindfold him again, and Dokes is clearly upset, and Tucci says he's kind of tired. Dexter is on his boat alone, loving the vibes. He's snapping photos of Jorge's house, car lot, and his life. Dokes and Deb are interrogating Mr. Perry, who was at the same hospital grounds they found Tucci. Mr. Perry is more focused on the camera watching them, and Dokes storms out. LaGuerta orders Deb to send Mr. Perry home. She tells Dokes to be optimistic, and he snaps at her for wanting to blindfold a trauma victim. I thought that was outrageous work, too. Learn the basics before reinventing the damn wheel, he snaps on her.
So the way that Lieberman shoots Yelena's reaction in the morgue as she breaks down seeing the body, and he shoots it through the opening in the doors as we, as the audience, watch it with Dexter. I thought that was very nice, very effective shot there. So let me ask this. They really hammer home really throughout the whole season here about Dexter's inability to feel, but we clearly see anger. So is his inability to feel just love, which I know that changes too, but maybe I'm the only one that thinks it just, to me, it feels a little bit inconsistent. Dustin, what do you think?
I'm the same as Dexter. Like, I can feel anger. I just can't feel affection. So I understand.
Oh, I get that. You're an asshole all the time. I also really love the little relationship, I guess, for lack of a better word, between Deb and Tucci. I really want to say something here, but I won't spoil anything for Nico. I don't know where you are with it, the Ice Truck Killer reveal, or who it is or who it's not. So I'm not going to say anything about any of the scene. And I know I've said Dokes is an awful character, but Dustin, I think we both have mentioned his acting this watch through. You're so right. Like, it's so bad. Like, the
Dude.
scene in the precinct where he and Deb are interviewing Perry, and he says, "We're done here." The way he, like, says that and just, like, walks out with his, like, ass sticking out. It was just, it's so fucking bad. It was so cheesy.
Terrible. Yeah, you're right. First of all, ain't no damn way a body was floating up on the coast, and it took someone running up on it to spot it. Like, that was a crowded-ass beach. I'm not buying that at all. That bothers me. When Dexter is wondering why or what he did to make Angel think they're so close, man, I feel that. There is nothing worse than when a coworker that you don't really fuck with thinks that you're boys and always wants to hang out after work. Like, no, man, leave me the fuck alone.
Oh, I thought you were going to say how we always send something to group text and we're always like, we're too close. We're too close.
Yeah, no. Gut wrenching when the floater was confirmed, as the maid's husband there. That was so sad to see. And then, Deb, she would flirt with the victim here, be in the hospital, all being flirty. Woman has no self-control. Dumbass. Then when she says Christ on a crutch, what the fuck was that? Who says that? Have you ever heard someone say Christ on a crutch?
No.
Jiminy Crickets, get the fuck out of my face. That was terrible. And then, man, I can't believe I'm saying it, but Dokes was absolutely right with what he said to Deb. She shut Tucci down, and she really needs to get good at her job before she starts going out on a limb and start coming up with these new ideas. He's right. Can't believe I'm saying it. But, not much on this set of scenes other than that.
Our Batista and Dexter are out vibing at the club, and Dexter asks, what about his wife? Dexter asks, what if she wants more emotionally? He says to go down on her. Nothing emotional. Flashback to Harry and Dexter talking about women and emotions. He tells Dexter faking emotions is tough. Dexter drives Batista home, he thinks, and carries him inside to pass out on the couch. Nina enters the room and was unaware of the pay bump and tells Dexter he doesn't live here anymore. They're separated. She says goodnight, and Dexter picks him back up and back to the car. He wakes him up the next morning saying they're really late for work. Batista is down abysmal, and Dexter finds it nice that he's not the only one not acting normal. Masuka, Dokes, and Deb chat, and Deb snaps saying he's tired and the case needs fresh eyes. She storms off saying call her when they're ready to let her do her job. Rita calls Dexter. He says he'll get a DVD, something light for them to watch. But they're watching Terms of Endearment, and Rita is crying her eyes out, and he's not crying at all. He leans over and kisses her neck. He goes down on her between her legs, but she stops him. She tells him that's sweet, but she's not in the mood for that. Flashback, and he asks his dad if someday he'll really feel emotions. I hope so, son. Dexter is on Jorge's boat looking for proof he's a killer. Dexter finds some cell phones and bodies that float up in the live well. Dexter hides when Jorge shows up. Jorge drives the boat away from the dock. Yep. This is what I do well, Dexter says. All right, Bryson, next set of scenes, what'd you think?
But, we talk about bad characters a lot, like Dokes and people they end up not knowing what to do with anymore, and Rita and Laguerta. But you know who really is just fucking consistently good as hell? Batista. Like, his character, his arcs,
man.
Nothing ever gets old over 9 seasons with him.
Yeah.
That's one character I feel like they did right. And I feel like without question that's the case. I love the writing with La Passion speech he gives Dexter at the club. And then after he finds out they're separated, Dexter says La Passion on the way out of the door. I thought that was a great callback. But who the hell looks into someone's air conditioner? Like, I know that was just there as a little red herring to add some tension, like we fucking needed more. But come on, like, nobody does that shit. And if it's that easy to see in there, pick a different fucking hiding place for your blood samples, man. Come on. Fun little fact here. The movie Dexter and Rita are watching is actually Terms of Endearment, starring, John Lithgow, who obviously stars in what many consider to be the best season of Dexter later on in part 4 and season 4. But that's funny as shit. Dexter going straight to trying to eat Rita out, like definitely not reading the room. And this is what I meant before as like, I just don't buy this. Like, he acts like some kid dealing with these sexual things for the first time, but he's in his mid-30s and even mentioned sex before plenty of times. So this seems kind of not realistic in my opinion. Stuff he shouldn't be fumbling through at this point in his life is all. I think that they did like they did Deb and just started him out in this character arc a little too low. That's all.
So Dexter finding out that Angel doesn't live at home anymore the way that he does It's so awkward. And honestly, I feel for Angel, man. He really protected his home life from his colleagues and his friends. Like, that's a hurting man. So I really like how like you said, Brian, his character is handled so well, written so well. A lot of tension when Angel is looking straight into the AC unit. Whew, that was close. Now, I don't think he was actually looking into it. I think he just woke up and he was just standing in front of it. But the camera angles and, obviously we're going to think he's looking into it because we know something's hidden into it. The cheesy, dramatic music playing from the TV when Dexter and Rita were watching the movie was funny. That was so generic. Is that the actual music from that movie? Surely not.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I've never
seen it.
No.
Okay.
I've seen it before.
So you're the only one that's fine. No, yeah, right.
Nah, come on. Think about what you said. But like that's the music that they don't even play on the Hallmark movies. They play on the commercials between Hallmark movies. Like, that was some bad music. And what's even funnier is when Dexter tried to go down on her. Like, Floyd Mayweather reads books better than Dexter reads rooms. That's insane. It's always so tense when Dexter is shopping around or snooping around for his next victims. Really well done, has you on edge. And he found the bodies drowned on Castillo's boats. You can't wait for Castillo to have an appointment in a plastic-covered room. So I'm excited for the ending here.
Here it is, the ending. Back with Tucci at the hospital. Deb uses her charm, and Doak says we should use the blindfold. He says it's their job to make sure no one ever goes through it again. Deb uses Doak's tie and covers his eyes. Tucci describes what he saw, smelled, heard. He smelled menthol, cough drops. He used them all the time. Tucci gets emotional reliving the situation. Back on the crime scene, Masuka finds a piece of the sheet in the rat's nest. Voila. He finds a cough drop wrapper and is ecstatic. Dexter is investigating the cell phones, then joins the others as Masuka looks at the prints on the wrapper. Deb celebrates they found a partial print. Doak says it wasn't luck. Good work, Morgan. Castillo has a bunch of folks at gunpoint and locks them up. He grows suspicious seeing a line of candles in his junkyard. He follows them to the Airstream, entering, seeing the victims' photos on the wall. Dexter Randy Orton's him, and I've been using the Randy Orton line a lot recently. Randy Orton's him with a needle to the neck. However, his wife appears calling for him. She opens the garage and is attacked by a lady. She calls her a piece of shit, shoving her back in the garage. She wakes up bound to a table beside Jorge. Dexter takes his blood samples, saying they're a good team. She tells Dexter they have money, they can pay him. The two tell each other how much they love each other. Dexter asks how long they've been married. How do they love each other? He absorbs the information given and shoves the rags back in their mouths. Deb brings Shonda to the hospital to Tucci to give him some relief and joy. Deb locks eyes with the doctor, sharing a smile. Dexter exits the Airstream, stuffing the body's remains into his car. He drives away, but we see an eye looking out the trunk of a Mercedes-Benz. Dexter unlocks the garage door and the hostages exit. Dexter is back on his boat and dumps the body remains into the ocean. Hell of a transition from boat to Dexter following the blood samples. He's having dinner with Rita, where it's kind of awkward until he asks her about her dreams for life. Dexter wants to someday to be content and comfortable. A normal life, she says. That's all I want. Just that, Rita says. Both seem to want the average, boring life, and the camera pans away as the episode ends. All right, Brian, what'd you think of the ending?
So, just one thing here, going through the rat's nest. Come on. If Masuka really is a hypochondriac and he's so afraid of catching shit from rats, why isn't he wearing any sort of mask or face covering going through that rat stuff? Honestly, they all should be if we're being real here. And I mentioned it before, I love the fact that the wife was in on it. And for what I think is the first time, we have to deviate from the plan of murder on Dexter's end. And we see something not going as planned for him for really the first time, I think. And pausing to ask them about love before killing them, that's fucking hilarious too. Because, I mean, you got Batista's advice last set, and it turned out to be really kind of bullshit in his eyes, as, you know, we see he wasn't living what he's preaching. But Dexter getting advice from people he's killing, kind of poetic. I laughed. Okay, and then Deb hooking Tucci up with her hooker friend. I really love that as well. Funny, because Lizette Carrion, who plays Shonda the hooker, also the assistant district attorney Kristen Torres in Law and Order Special Victims Unit. So weird to see her in, well, let's just say this position. And then it showing us the eye in the trunk, you know. Oh shit, okay, here we go. So great ending, great episode, my favorite of the two.
So I can't fucking believe that Dokes is on board with forcing Tucci to wear the blindfold. There's no shot if I was Tucci, I'd let them make me do that. I would sue the shit out of them. but it worked. I don't know how much I buy it, but it worked. He gave them info.
You got a sex worker out of it.
That's
some
true.
booty.
That's true. Huge win for them when they got the partial print. Makes me wonder if Dexter is genuinely proud and happy for Deb, or if he feels upset because they may be closer to catching the killer than he is. Seeing Dexter's trap for Castillo is awesome. He would have been a hell of a Batman, or at least a damn good detective. Imagine if he harnessed his abilities and did it by the book. He'd have been the GOAT detective, no question. Major oh shit moment when Castillo's wife pulls up. Dexter has his trail of candles all laid out and no mask on. Is he fucked? I don't know. Then she has a gun. Okay, so she's not innocent. Just kill her too. I'm okay with that. The look on Dexter's face when the Castillos say that they love each other is great. It's like he had an epiphany. Like he saw something inside himself that he was, trying to figure out with him and Rita. Angel back at the bar drinking his sorrows away. Just depressing. Then Deb sends a hooker in for Tucci. Like, the fuck's she thinking? It was funny seeing Bro's face, though. He was like a kid on Christmas. That shit cracked me up. I do have to wonder what the fuck took Dexter so long to kill the Castillos. Like, the sun's coming up now. Seems like amateur hour. I don't think that's on par with Dexter. Crazy seeing the eye through the hole in the Ben's trunk. It's a potential witness or someone that he didn't free who needed freeing. Either way, not good for him. Then when he's dumping the bodies in the ocean, I don't like the shaky cam that we get from a long distance. It makes you feel like someone's watching him. Dexter knocked it out of the park with the Rita at dinner. Perfect answer. He's in there. I really like this episode. Like I said, slower finish, but a really good back end. Finish strong. I got it at 8.5.
All right. Episode 6, Return to Sender. Dexter speaks on life being fragile. Each could be their last day, as he and Rita's kid flushed a dead goldfish. Dexter takes a seat and joins the kids for breakfast. Dexter has an oh shit moment, finding out the crime scene is in the junkyard. He panics, wondering if he left behind a drop of blood. He enters the Airstream and sees a dead woman's body lay there. Dexter can't believe the person dove 100 feet to bring his body back up. Masuka says the trailer isn't clean and finds something on the victim. He finds a needle mark, but Dexter plays it off as a bug bite. Masuka leaves. He's hungry. I feel you, my brother. Deb, Dokes, and LaGuerta find the garage where the hostages were kept. They find a little boy in the trunk of the Mercedes. LaGuerta speaks his language and comforts him and hugs her. Dexter continues to act nervous as he chats with Deb, asking if the kid saw anything. Flashback to the younger Morgans. Keeping the truth from those closest to you is how you survive. Rita tells her kids to hurry up for school, and Rita tells her daughter she can get more stuff for her party. Rita gets a call from the kid's dad, and her mood shifts instantly. Batista tells Deb and Dokes he brought in the lady from the phone number. Batista is sickened by Jorge's actions. Mariel tells her story, and someone opened the garage. Masuka gets excited seeing the M99 on the report, and Dexter grows more and more nervous. Rita calls Dexter. She's very upset about Paul calling her, wanting to come to Astor's party. She asks him to come over, and he says he will if he can. Big case. Batista tells Dexter the kid saw a guy save the hostages from the bad guys. He says he'd shake the guy's hand if he could. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Well, like I kind of mentioned last episode, you really start to see Dexter lose some control here. You kind of get to see him lose that upper hand that we're so used to him having over everyone here. As you know, we're back at that crime scene and from the last episode, and you're almost feeling that oh shit moment like with him as he's walking up. Which honestly, you've got to suspend disbelief some because look, I mean, even if the eye struck killer is watching Dexter dump his bodies and knows, I mean, he's got to know which one to go to, pull it back up, put it back in there. Come on. And it was already daytime whenever he was dumping it. It just, none of this makes sense to me. But I kind of feel like, again, you know, there's almost too much going on. Like, do you need the whole subplot here with the kid in the trunk? Because when we already know that the eye struck killer is fucking with him, do we need another tension-filled subplot with the kid, possibly knowing him as well as now we're bringing in Rita's ex-husband? It kind of seems like it just seems like a lot or too much. There's too many threads that should have been introduced a little earlier than episode 6, in my opinion. Like Rita's ex-husband. Some little fun facts that may sound like I'm being a perv, but whatever. Shout out Valerie Dillman, who plays Valerie Castillo here. She does. She swallows or moves her throat or something whenever Masuka and Dexter are examining the body. So she moves and she's supposed to be dead. But she also has hard nipples. So, yeah, sorry, I noticed. But Fun fact, when you're dead, your nipples do not get hard. So, look, it's the hard-hitting stuff that we tackle here and don't go out there. When you're dead, you don't have hard nipples. Just
You would think you would, though, because rigor mortis, or maybe Rick and Morty, one of them.
Rick and Morty sets in? I don't know, man.
Rick and Mortar? I don't know. So, first of all, I do have a question, Brian. You said that you feel like the Paul should have been introduced earlier in episode 6 or something. Is that what you said?
I don't know. It just feels like there is a lot going on in this episode. We got the ice truck killer earlier, but now he's like really fucking with Dexter. On top of now we got to deal with a kid maybe seeing him. On top of now Paul's being introduced. It just seems like a lot at once to me.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, Paul was in prison. That's easily explained. He was in prison.
I get it. It was just a lot for this episode. That's all I'll say.
You ever had one of those days where it felt like everything's just happening, everything's snowballing? That's, it's just one of those days. Don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Sorry, that was Limp Bizkit. Wow. Definitely some parallels between how Dexter and Cody handled death. Well, that's over. Next. That was well done. It's like Dexter's emotion has never matured past a 7-year-old or something. Big O shit moment when Dexter is called on to his own crime scene. Great tension, and it's conveyed nicely with Dexter almost being in a trance and everyone else moving in slow motion. I like how that was done. Major cat and mouse game. Some dedication by the killer, and it makes the shaky cam that I talked about at the end of last episode make sense. He was being watched. That's awesome. I like it now. And then, you're not Chinese. I'm not? I know Nico felt that line. Turns out it was a kid in the trunk who saw Dexter. He's got to get the hell out of there. You got to leave this crime scene. Make up an excuse. You got the bubble gut, something. Go home. Great flashback to Harry telling young Dex that Deb can never know about their secret. Nice look at the progression of how he is and how he came to be. Masuka finding out it was M99 is great. Dexter's ground beneath him is shrinking. I love it. Really good tension. Great opening to this episode. We're on fire. See, I disagree, Brian. I love the pacing in this one. It's like, holy shit, a lot's going on. It's frantic.
There's a lot going on.
Deb finds Jorge's passport at his house, and Doug thinks maybe he got greedy and killed his wife. Deb wonders if this is a copycat killer, wanting to work up a profile just in case Jorge doesn't pan out. Deb asks who he's avoiding on the phone. We've got one more stop to make, he tells her. Dexter is back on the crime scene, saying it can't end like this. He crawls into the trunk of the car and realizes the kid saw him. He kicks a hubcap like Messi out of frustration. Dokes takes Deb to his mom's house. That's who he's been calling. Fucking family reunion as Deb exits the car. However, it seems like she's having a great time telling cop stories to the family. Deb tells him she loved cheesecake and Dokes has to stay even longer. Rita is at a loss. Everything is going good and now this happens. Astor was the one who called the last time. Dexter tells her they'll handle it together. Dexter thinks he shouldn't be here. Her ex was a crackhead. Her boyfriend's a serial killer. It would be hard for her to not take it personally. I thought that was funny. Dexter has visions of his father where blood rains down and Deb cuts his face asking why didn't he tell her who he was. He wakes up as Deb cuts his head off in a cold sweat. He hacks into Masuka's email and his alias is Patrick Bateman. Sounds familiar. Deb enters asking him to go over the profile she made. He clams up reading what she wrote, describing Dexter. He thinks it sounds too textbook, but Deb thinks it fits the case. He plays the LaGuerta route and she's upset. She knows she's on to something and is upset he didn't have her back. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
The scene with Dokes and Deb and his family, this is the first scene with Dokes in it that I think that I've liked this season. Vernie Watson playing his mom, I think, is fantastic. I've seen her a bunch of stuff throughout the years. Christmas with the Cranks comes to mind, but she's been around forever. I love her here. She steals the scenes. Honestly, Deb does fantastic as well. Great chemistry to me for everyone at the table as Dokes just kind of sits there and not talks, which is probably why I love it so much. I love the line Dexter says about Rita. You mentioned it, Nico, when he says her ex-husband's a crackhead and her boyfriend's a serial killer. Hard to take that personal. Well, I mean, I guess what Dexter says it about Rita. Well, I don't remember what I said, but that's where no fucking shit. I mean, that's a mouthful. Pause. I also love Harry talking about getting inside because of the storm coming and having that, multiple meanings, context there. This whole dream sequence, I think, is fantastic. Now, at 24 minutes, when Deb is cutting his cheek, though, you can see like a blood tube along the scalpel if you look. So kind of revealing how they really do that every time, which I kind of thought was more neat than a mistake, really. And I also, last thing, I love that Dexter uses Patrick Bateman as the alias to get his horse tranquilizer shit. Great touch there. I mean, you're really banking on nobody fucking ever have watching that movie, though. I mean, shit. It's not, maybe he doesn't exist in that universe.
Yeah, maybe it's a different universe.
Yeah, maybe. But I know, Dustin, you don't like Deb, but I do, and honestly feel bad for her here. I mean, she does nothing but fucking just kill it, especially with her hunches and theories, and gets just shut down by Dokes, LaGuardia, now Dexter, and we as an audience knows that she's right, so I kind of feel a little bad for her.
Nope.
Yeah,
Not going to be able to do it. Not me.
I knew you were going to say that.
We get some character development for Dokes. Yay. But it's still fuck him. I do like the scene of Dexter going back and getting in the truck. My man is stressed out. I like Dokes' family. They're so much more likable than his bitch ass is. Great touch having Dexter have a nightmare. Great way to show how stressed he is. Like he even mentions, I never dream. Like I sleep totally. So I like that. It's good added touch for him. And then last thing I've got, he's so consumed with covering his own tracks that he hurts Deb's feeling. Like that's tough. He's the only one that completely has her back no matter what, and he hurts her feelings. That shows how under the gun he is. So I like it.
Harry asks Dexter where's his sister. She's shooting by the water, and he scolds her not to touch his guns unless under his supervision. She just wants to fit in and go hunting too. Dokes announces a cadet of people will be going over every inch of the salvage yard. The young man from the junkyard is hesitant to leave the car until LaGuardia arrives and comforts him. She has a connection to him. Dokes asks Deb if she has any ideas. Dexter walks away, and the little boy doesn't make eye contact with him. Batista and LaGuardia chat with the boy who doesn't want her to leave the room. His mood changes when some tasty pastries are brought to him. Rita is setting up for Astor's party, and you can tell Astor is bothered. Cody told all her friends about Dad getting out of jail, so now they can't come. She storms after Astor to chat. Dexter enters the room with LaGuardia to see the sketch. Dexter slides a jacket under his head to use as a pillow. He looks at the sketch and sees just eyes. Deb tries to help LaGuardia with her contact lens until she asks about her adopted brother Dexter. Deb gets the hair out of LaGuardia's eye, and she asks why she has it in for her. You're loud, impulsive, and question authority. And then we see Deb has stormed out of the bathroom. All right, Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
I do like the LaGuardia little sub thread here with the kid. It does humanize her some, and again, it gives her something to do, I think. And I think we said it before that she was meant to die in this season via the book, so we're at least still following the book. So there's something for her to do that's already pre-written, and you don't have to come up with in the writer's room. I did notice the over-the-top flirting that they went with regarding her and wanting Dexter schlong in the pilot has pretty much gone away, to be honest, and that's welcomed. But I will give this subplot with her some love, especially when she's sitting there on the couch with the kid when Dexter comes in. A bit of a jump scare, but it ended up being very sweet, and I liked that. And I did not mention, this kind of blew my mind a little bit, I didn't mention the director of this episode, and I really need to, Tony fucking Goldwyn. The bad guy from Ghost, Gordon Gray in Oppenheimer, The Last Samurai. And yeah, we covered him when he was Barry in the Belko Experiment. Yes, that Tony Goldwyn. He's back to direct episode 8 too when we get there, and 2 more in season 2. But that's it. Cool little tidbit I stumbled across when I was kind of looking who directed it.
Good stuff with LaGuardia and the kid. Great character development for her. We've really just seen her as a bitch up until now, so it's nice to see she has a softer side. The look on Dexter's face when he sees LaGuardia with the kid is great. Man, almost shit his pantalones. Had to be a huge relief when the kid opened his eyes when he was sleeping and didn't instantly sit up and point at Dexter and recognize him. So you have to feel a little bit calmer about the situation there.
Right.
And then Deb's whole spill about trading glasses for contacts when what she really needed was tits. That was hilarious to me. That whole scene was good. She point blank asked LaGuardia why she doesn't like her, got an answer, which were all valid points, and then just walked out, left LaGuardia hanging. So I like that dynamic they had going on there. So another good set of scenes. I'm ready for the ending.
Yep, here it is. Rita watches TV on the couch, and Astor walks up and then away. Rita follows her to her bed and sees she wet the bed. Astor asks if it's okay if she doesn't have her party. Dexter packs up his weapons and tools, knowing he's only got a little time until the sketch is done. He chunks all his tools overboard into the ocean. He takes one last moment with blood samples, reminiscing on the people he killed. He sees the blood sample as a smiley face and locks in, thinking he's being pushed into a corner by his opposition. He sets up fingerprints of Jorge Castillo on knives. Dokes tells Deb to hold off until we get a sketch on the new leads. Dexter tells him he's got something and shows him the video footage. Dexter questions the boy considering his physical and mental state. Deb walks out upset upon hearing this. Flashback to them younger, and she's upset he told her with the guns. There are many times she wishes he wasn't brought home. Oop. But she quickly apologized for saying that, and he tosses her the soup can she was shooting. You're a way better shot than me anyways. Rita pauses making the cake and calls Paul. She tells him it's not the best idea for him to come to the party, and she threatens to call the police and his parole officer if he steps foot at the place. The police are back at the salvage yard and a knife is found. The young boy's uncle, Robert, comes to pick the boy up, and LaGuerta is emotional after forming a relationship with him. Batista looks at the sketch and tells LaGuerta she needs to see this. Her demeanor changes instantly upon seeing it. Dexter finds blood on the knife. Batista brings the sketch to the scene and Deb calls for Dexter. It's a picture of Jesus. Dexter laughs and the others can't believe it. Dexter joins Rita for Astor's party. She blows out her candles, thankful her dad isn't there. Dexter smiles, seeing everything until he sees Deb is still upset. He realizes his days are numbered and better make the most of them. He picks Cody up, swinging him around, having fun. A storm approaches and Dexter slams the door to his apartment as the episode ends. All right, Brian, that's the ending. What'd you think?
Something kind of funny, or at least I thought it was kind of funny. Julie Dolan that plays Cindy Landon for that little 2-second flashback Dexter's having when he's on his boat. The woman that actually plays the Black Widow, and her line was, "I'll fuck you if you let me go." She's actually the voice of Princess Leia on Star Wars Rebels. And so, yeah, that's nerd shit, but also kind of struck me as funny and ironic that, we have Princess Leia having a line like that on here, but whatever. I know I said it was a lot, like as a bunch of subplots and threads, but I'll be a little hypocritical here because I really do like the sketch red herring at the end, like starting with Batista being like, "You've got to see this." And what it ends up being, sidebar, sketch artists have, always been they've intrigued me. Like maybe it's just me not knowing enough about it, but what they can draw based on what people say and they get so close to it, as long as you're not the leprechaun from the Mobile sketch artist, I think it's fucking amazing. Can we talk about how that sketch here though looks like Kanye West with long hair? Like go back and look at it again. Like it's fucking hilarious. Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't see that. And that threw me off. That's funny. Sad stuff with Astor here. She pissed the bed, then doesn't even want to have a birthday party. It's just terrible. Paul's an asshole. I like the progression of Dexter's panic. Like, man got rid of everything. And then a great clue when he saw the fingerprint on the blood slide. I like that. And the smiley face. And a great plan by him to throw everyone off his tracks. Deb is annoying, though. She's more upset about all the work that she did not paying off than being excited about a solid lead. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but it's more like, but I did all this work. You mean it didn't mean anything? Fuck. I don't know. Fuck her. And his plan was perfectly executed. Planting the knife. Good shit. Sad stuff when LaGuerta loses the kid to his uncle. You could tell that she wasn't ready to let him go. And very tense when Angel and LaGuerta look at the sketch. Like, there's some real bastards for not showing us immediately who it is. Like, made us sweat it out a little bit. Then when Angel shows up to the crime scene with it, you can feel the tension. But the kid saw Jesus. Kid's got a sense of humor. Like, made a sketch artist spend all that time drawing Jesus. That's funny. And then we get the feel-good ending to the episode with the birthday party. Hell yeah. This episode was really damn good. Great tension, drama, and developments. The pacing was phenomenal. I gave it a 9.5. I love this episode.
Yeah, I like both episodes personally. I didn't think there was any pacing issues or anything wrong. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm only doing 2 episodes at a time, so I don't know how this season ends. Mm-hmm. So I really didn't think there was too much going on in episode 6, but maybe that's just me not knowing everything. Y'all got any final thoughts?
I just sent you guys the sketch in our group chat. Like, you can't tell me that's not Kanye West with fucking long hair. Like, come on.
I'm a little upset. Nico doesn't love this show. Like, when he watched True Detective, he binge watched it 14 times in 2 weeks. He doesn't love this. He hasn't even finished the first season.
He might
he hasn't. Yeah, but like the other shows, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and watch the next." He ain't even fucking with this one.
No,
he watched these episodes today. He watched these episodes today for the first time. He don't give a fuck.
I had the scene by scene up days ago. What are you talking about? I had them done on Saturday. No, honestly, real talk, Dustin, it's because we've been doing so many, like going to the movie so much, doing reactions and stuff. Yeah, just a lot going on. But so far through the first 6 episodes, I like it. I'm invested.
Oh yeah,
I had fun with it. I'm excited for the end of the next 6 episodes. Next week, Brian's going to be doing the scene by scene. I'm looking forward to it. Appreciate all of our blood donors. Appreciate all of y'all listening. And we'll be back next week.
Peace.
Just want to remind everybody,